Good evening. This is Wallace Gator Bradley, President of United Peace, Inc. And I want to first give praise to God by saying to God be the glory. I want to also let everyone know that this show would not be possible without the dedication of the chairman of United Peace, Inc., the producer and director of this show. Young lady I'm proud to say that I fell in love with, but then that's another show. And that's Miss Terry Mars. There's a lot that's happening because this is the post-election report, and I want to thank everybody that came out to vote. I want to thank all the supporters and the volunteers and the staff of all the candidates, especially J.B. Pritzker's volunteers, staff, supporters. This election was a powerful and a meaningful election if you paid attention to the outcome. Barrios lost because he had the tax attack on him. He even lost a lot of his supporters. But it's my understanding that he may also choose not to want to run again to be the chairman of the Cook County Democratic Party. I want to say hooray for the voters that came out to vote. I want to say it's been brought to my attention that the Cook County Board President Toni Preckwinkle, if she should decide to be the Cook County Democratic Party chairman, it's hers for the action. She deserved it. And I believe the party will be stronger going into the November election. I want to say to County Board President, hooray, hooray. You ran a strong campaign. There was no signs, no commercials. Even when you was on this show, you let the people know, judge you on your record. Even though they was mad at you for making the decision that you made about the pop tax, yet being a leader, you let everyone know that there's a responsibility where sometimes a leader is out there by themselves. So I want to say, hooray to you. And one thing I want to say to the young millennial voters, I pray that you learn something from this election, because a lot of other people are paying attention to the fact that those young millennial leaders, not all of them, but those that are trying to convince our young voters that they shouldn't get involved in the process because it don't make a difference. And then you got young leaders that's leading and bringing people to the polls. For those that's bringing them to the polls, taking them to get ready to vote, I want to say hooray, hooray, hooray. And those that's doing everything within their power, knowingly or unknowingly, to suppress the African American vote, I want to say, because we need to know that this election is serious. Now, the Democratic Party have to come together for the sake of unity to beat Rauner. We do know what Rauner has done based on his record as opposed to services that he destroyed or stopped providing for the community. So I hear people say, well, Rauner has a record and Pritzker don't. I say that when you Google for what Pritzker has done to provide services to the community before he made a decision to run for office, it outweighs what Ronna did when he was governor. But that's a different story. I'm not even thinking about that. Name of the game is we're going to get our votes up. We're going to vote Ronna up out of there. And we're going to help bring the services back to the state of Illinois. And the wonderful thing that I love about Pritzker and the community that he went to talk to when he was doing his apology tour, he heard their concerns and he let it be known he's going to make sure that there's fair jobs and contracts across the board, but especially for African Americans to get their fair share of jobs and contracts. Okay? And to help reform that criminal justice system. You're going to hear a lot about that. Everybody's saying, well, Gator, you went all out for Pritzker early on. Yeah, because I believe investing in a candidate. I believe investing into a candidate that you believe is going to make a change is worth it. 3 days before the election, I was blessed to get with a company that was willing to do 253,000 robocalls. And they wanted to use my voice. And I did. And they wanted to make that an in-kind contribution to the Pritzker campaign because it was important for our voters to not only hear Jesse White, but to also hear Gator. And also hear Pritzker and others that believe that Pritzker would be the best man for the job. Caller, could you please voice your opinion to my viewing and listening audience?
Yes, sir, Mr. Gator. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
On our win with Mr. Pritzker. I want to say you got a great crew, especially your lovely wife. And I want to say you speak from the heart, so that has to be the truth. But let me talk about Mr. Barrios a little bit. The reason why he lost big in the Hispanic district, and that's only because they all thought that he wouldn't raise the tax on the rich people, but he would raise the taxes on the back of middle class people.
Right.
And I want to say this: the millennials and the other people should be ashamed of themselves for not going out and vote. I hope they don't start arguing and making problems. But it's a shame. I'm a 70-year-old man, and I go every time, and I go 365 days a year if there were votes.
Right.
So if I can do it, they surely can do it. And congratulations again on Mr. Pritzker.
You're right. I got another caller coming, but you're 100% correct. And one of the things myself and my wife did, we started within our family to get them to the polls. And that thing I knew, just counting family members, I took 10 people to the polls. And then my son ended up making sure that his grandmother got to the polls and his auntie got to the polls. I took my 18-year-old granddaughter, she had just became 18, I took her to 69 West Washington for her to register on the same day, and she was allowed to vote on that same day, but she was allowed to go behind the walls at 69 West Washington and see the mechanics of the importance of the Chicago Board of Election. So you're right. And instead of just screaming, if you choke because you didn't vote, the choice is yours. Caller, could you please state your name and share your opinion?
Hey there, Blair. How you doing? This is Steve.
Hey, Steve.
You know what? Let me tell you something that I really, truly had analyzed. We could have been good politicians from the day. You know, listen, we knew how to do things, and you knew how to work things. That's how you learned in your playground. I think we could have did good. I think we really could have did good, Bear. I really do. But Gator, let me tell you something. People has a way of doing things. That's their business. You know, time you have to adapt to the time. Look at you now. I'm so proud of you. Some people look at me and say, "How?" You know? But we did it. We still around, man. Look at us. We still around, and we're still educating. Let me tell you, just like I told you about Barrows, I liked him. He was just nepotism. You know, that nepotism, it's okay. Same thing with Kerry. Nepotism's okay, but if they're not doing the work, what do? You get them out. You don't have a person back in the day, you don't have nobody working and ain't doing nothing. You change it. You get somebody else that's going to work. And that's how life go. Periwinkle, I loved her when she was alderman. Look what she used to do down there, the co-op and all of that stuff.
Right.
You know, she did a wonderful job. People got mad about a penny pop. I wouldn't give a shit. Oh, I'm sorry. I wouldn't care if it was 10 cents.
Right.
I'm going to buy me a pop if I want to buy a pop.
Right.
You got to do something
But
to try to make...
Steve, one thing I want to say, because I got callers, you know, everybody there calling.
Yeah,
I want to say this.
As a matter of fact, answer it. Listen, we talk another day, but I want to get out the air, and I want to hear your response. You talk to me.
You know, well, Steve, what you said is 100% correct. We were born within the system with knowing that we had a responsibility. We couldn't wait to become 18 to use that responsibility to vote. But now we the dinosaurs. So we got to reiterate that back within our communities and to start within our families. You follow what I'm saying? And one of the things I do know that it's because of God that we are here today. Okay? And for my viewing audience, I want to say I'm glad that Brother Kwame Raoul is going to be the Democratic nominee for the Attorney General. He's a strong African American male by the stance that he takes. He was the one that pushed for the Illinois Torture Commission to come into existence because of the Chicago police officer John Burge and others that was torturing African American men to confess the crimes that they didn't do. And that's when I learned about Pritzker. When I realized that he had gave an endowment to Northwestern University so that they could help fight those that were the cases against those who were wrongfully convicted and to help those who were wrongfully convicted to come out the penitentiary. I want to say hooray, hooray to Kwame, Northwestern University, J.B. Pritzker, and those that came out and voted for Kwame to be our nominee for the Attorney General's race. Caller, could you please state your name, share your opinion with myself and our viewing audience?
Yeah, I'm Saeed. It's good to be on your show. I want to say two things, and I'll be quick here. You were saying something about Toni Preckwinkle, okay? Now, mind you, she used to be the principal at my elementary school way back in the day, okay? Okay. Now, I don't agree with her raising this little beverage tax. This was totally brutal. Not everybody has that money for that.
Right, I got
And
you.
that
Come
was
on,
really
come on, come on to the
ridiculous.
next because time is rolling. What's the other one?
Okay, the other one is, I don't think that Pritzker, J.B. Pritzker, should have been in office. He's going to be just like Blagojevich. Ain't nothing going to change.
Right.
The police are still going to have their weapons and stuff. That ain't going to stop nothing. So
Well,
it's all a
I'm
pimp game.
gonna share this with you because I heard you on Danny Davis' show. One of the things is this: it's not the governor's job; it's the mayor's job to help keep his police in check. Okay, and something else. Pritzker didn't do anything wrong, or he would have been locked up with Blagojevich. Okay, and I judge like my granddaughter. When she heard those commercials and they were saying that Pritzker said bad things about Barack Obama, well, there was a whole lot of people out in that community that said the same thing. But those of us knew that it wasn't too much Barack Obama could do because those in Washington said he didn't have control of the House and the Senate, and they was going to make sure that he couldn't do a lot of things. Okay? And everybody knows that when you love someone, like everybody in the state of the North pretty much love Jesse White, it's because we all can get along with him. Okay? So my thing is, one thing I did, like I told my granddaughter, Google Kennedy, Google all of them, including T.O. and pick one thing. And what she picked was that those individuals that's going to jail and getting out for crimes that they didn't do. I said, okay, see what each one of them candidates did to help an individual to get out the penitentiary who was wrongfully convicted. I didn't say no more. Then when she went behind the wall to vote, she came out and said, okay, who would you vote for? And she was happy. She danced, poured a little wristband out to show everybody that she had voted. And that was the most powerful 13 seconds I ever seen on the video. She said she voted for J.B. Pritzker. What we got in there now is worse than what we got in Washington, D.C. now. Because individuals are able to push hate, to suppress black voters, to the point of telling them it don't make no sense to go, like there is no difference between the lesser two evils when it is. So we hated Hillary. I didn't hate Hillary, but they convinced our community to hate Hillary for something that her husband did. So we end up with Trump. Pritzker, us, including myself and other Democratic voters, going to do what we know we can do, and that is vote to elect Pritzker so that Ron is out here. Caller, could you please state your name, voice your opinion?
Yeah, my name is James. You're absolutely right. When you told that caller, it's the mayor's fault, and he's the one in charge of the police because they always okay, Gary McCarthy supposed to be running for the mayor, and it's like you said, it's Ron Emanuel's fault. So they always take up for the police, the media, and the mayor, like Mayor Daley, he took up for the police, and they all in on it, and they part of it, and then Ron Emanuel's part of it too. And if Gary McCarthy, Ron, he gonna be part of it too. And like you said to that caller, and it's their fault because he's the one in charge. It's their fault. And all this coming up, that ain't nothing. That's a side going exposed and all that.
Right.
Exposed and all that. My name is James.
All right, James, I appreciate your call.
Okay.
You know, the power is in our hands by the grace of God. And the sacrifices the individual gave their lives for us to have the right to vote. One of the things that's disheartening to me, and before we get out of here, everybody was making an issue about Madigan. Well, Madigan is still in charge. And he's going to do what he's going to have to do to help get the Democratic candidate elected. And I'll never forget, I was in Springfield when Ronna was getting 90% of what he wanted. And yet, he still refused to balance the budget. I ain't talking what I heard. I was in Springfield. There's been Republican governors, and Madigan has been there, and Democrats have been in charge of the House and the Senate. But the art of compromise for the betterment of the people of Illinois may not always be perfect. I've never seen a perfect budget. But I'm telling those voters that elected Pritzker, we're going to double down just in case they're able to suppress the black vote with all that nonsense. It don't make no sense for you to go vote. We got an obligation to double down. Just like I did with those robocalls, to go to a company that believed in what I was telling them about Ronna. They was able to spend, those calls would have cost me $20,000. They did this as an in-kind service to help get the message out to the people that may feel disenfranchised and that was targeted to suppress their vote. And to that company, I want to say, hooray, hooray, hooray. This victory that you see is because you was instrumental in helping to get the word out to the people of the importance of coming out and vote for J.B. Pritzker. You know, I may sound somewhat heated. Oh, this is something I don't want to get away. When I see that a police officer rapes a man while he's chained to a hospital bed, if it was a woman and he raped her, he raped a mentally disturbed man. If anyone do that, but to see that it was an African American man in the uniform to do that, those are issues that we as a people should not tolerate. So when the fraternal order police come to his aid and yada yada yada, the police, he got this going. We the people gonna have to make that decision on him when he come to a jury trial. And with what you know what he did, he still got a right to a fair trial. Deal with the evidence, and if it's proved that he's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, he's supposed to get whatever he got coming. Because I know God don't love this. Sometimes we got to understand there's more things happening in our community than just politics. There's evil crime that's happening, children getting killed. So now, McCarthy says he's in for the race to run for mayor. All I can tell McCarthy, get your vote up. Because there's other individuals that's going to be in this race besides Ron. And on a happy note, I'm glad that the friend of mine, Cheeseburger Sam, Sienna's, is now a judge. Well, you know I got to wrap it up. I want to say to God be the glory. Thank you for watching. And hey, it ain't over till November 2018. Vote for J.B. Pritzker and a straight Democratic ticket. Thank you. Have a nice evening, because I know I will.